and welcome to the Akashic Sunday sessions for the week of December 28th. Christmas has passed, the solstice has passed. I had a beautiful celebration for both, and even though they were incredibly beautiful and heartfelt, it was still different this year, and I sense that the same is true for many of you. We are approaching a new year, and with that, I have some more IGTVs that are going to be coming about how to reflect back on this past year so that you can move forward into this new year with intention. And I don't have a deadline of January 1st, the calendar year. I tend to go more by the lunar new year, but I do a lot of the work between the solstice and middle of January. So I'm going to be having more IGTVs about that, so stay tuned. But this is the last Akashic Sunday session before we transition into new year and before most people start thinking about intentions and goals and resolutions for the new year. I didn't really have that in mind when I was in the records, but the message that came through for this week for all of you, no matter when you're listening to this, is let it go. So strongly, let it go, whatever it is that you're still holding on to. Somehow, some way that you are still hanging on despite all of this year, if it has not demanded or forced you to let go of the things, it's time. It's time to release. And in the records, they shared the image of like this vice grip, right? And that there's an understanding simply releasing could be too harsh or too triggering, traumatizing, or just too abrupt. If that's the case, peel open finger by finger so that you're holding it still, but you're not gripping onto it, and that it's simply sitting so that you can observe it, awareness, still hanging on, holding, but not with such a death grip of fear. And when you feel ready, to simply flip the hand over and drop the arm and allow that energy to drop down to the earth, to be recycled back to the universe, to come back to yourself, to others in some sort of beautiful way. Not our job to think about what or why or how that happens, but trusting that it can be used for something else, this whatever is that's being held onto. And your job is to release, to do that letting go. And the records did share that it may be the case that you're still hanging on to some things because this year actually was so hard that you gripped even tighter to whatever you had or was familiar or safe or comfortable. Not because it actually is comfortable and in your highest evolvement, highest self, but just because it's what you're used to and what you know. And there was so much change that it just felt too hard for one more thing to be released or let go or changed. And if that's the case, now's the time. Now is the time to release and let it go. If it's a bad habit that you have that is diminishing your light, eroding your personal integrity, damaging your relationships, your health, it's time to change it. Let it go. Let go of it. Dysfunctional patterns in relationships or friendships or relationship to work or with your health. Whatever it is, perhaps all of the above. There's little bits and pieces in all of the different areas of your life. It's time. It's time. 2020 was about this transformation, and it's not so that we could go back to being the way that we were. It's calling us into a higher evolvement, into our highest selves. And the records ask that we release, to not get so boxed in, and so what was the word used? Entombed, something like that, where there's a coffin or a I can't remember the word now, but hermetically sealed. That was it. So sealed and frigid, rigid, boxed in to who we think we are, how we've known ourselves in the past, that we cannot allow something new or ourselves to grow and become something new or different that's higher and brighter and more of our authentic true self. It's the time. 'Tis the season, as we have seen through nature, the letting go of the leaves. It's just the way of it. It's the cycle of it. And as we tune into rhythms of the seasons, especially through Ayurveda, just living a natural, rhythmic life, that's the way of it. The Akashic Records very clearly and strongly said, it's time to let it go. In whatever way you need to, get whatever support you need to in order to release. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I think I've been doing this since September. I'm going to continue doing these into the new year because I enjoy them. I will probably continue to do it instead of weekly, every couple of weeks. And I am planning on more IGTVs and recordings on a variety of topics because I've enjoyed this and I've enjoyed sharing. And I've also been moved by the messages and the emails and the DMs that you have sent about how much these mean to you and how they land for you. Again, thank you. Have a beautiful new year. And you're always welcome to reach out, ask questions, or just let me know how this sits with you and how it's shifting or shaping in your life. Many blessings. Happy 2021. I will see you again in the new year. Mwah.